Yes, good afternoon, people. So, this was sent to me by a subscriber on Twitter. Destiny, a man who needs no introduction. So let's watch this ridiculous dumpster fire, shall we?
When I hear somebody say, I want a younger person that hasn't been in through as many relationships, I hear a child that wants a 9-year-old that has no experience in the real world. I want a girl that's young, that doesn't know any better, that has no about, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Anybody that's had real relationship experience that's saying like, oh, I prefer like 19 or 20-year-olds, like you want somebody that you manipulate that has no experience.
But
somebody that's been through their 20s, knows what they like, knows what they don't like. Some can carry baggage, I guess, but that's true of every single human being, from your parents, from your schools, from your relationships to anything else. The idea that you would prefer somebody that's less experienced, that has less of an idea of what they want, is a statement made by a manipulator. Full stop.
Now, let me start off with a preemptive strike, lest we get a Destiny fanboy in here. You're defending someone with blue hair, therefore your opinion is irrelevant. And if you say, well, you're only an avatar. Yes, but unlike Destiny and his absurd blue hair, my avatar is not a universally renowned symbol for unhinged lunacy. Therein lies the difference. Now, when it comes to Destiny, anyone who is not a gullible moron will spot his gimmick pretty quickly. His Shapiro-like speaking pace aside, he also does the Shapiro thing, which is to put almost all of his chips on the framing of his perspective. And he does it here as well. I think all men who want younger women are bad thing X. And then he attaches a whole bunch of assumptions to it. Nah, if only there was a word for this type of maneuver. Oh well. He talks like a politician, which is not to make a case for why your position is any good. No, just make the opposition look worse. And that's it, that's his entire argument. Again, if you happen to not be a gullible moron and unsuckered in by this tactic, you can notice the initial premise upon which all assumptions are based is bollocks. The argument falls to pieces like a house of cards. His use of language, for one, is cheapening and very pernicious. He starts off by saying if someone says they want someone young and inexperienced, he hears, a word for which I will substitute with the phrase predator. That says more about him than objective reality, considering he says, when I hear, so that's his interpretation. And then he kind of stretches that out to encompass 19 to 20-year-olds. Okay, now predator no longer applies in the legal sense because 10 years is a world of difference. Why then use the word at all to try and make the comparison? Because he wants to emotionally manipulate you to add weight to his own argument. Funny he talks about manipulation, which is what he does to language constantly. That and perversion, yes, the mandatory art of all leftists. Very negative. So, let's blow it to hell and gone, shall we? Something to keep in mind here. I do not give a flying bollocks about your politically asinine views on equality, nor do I care about fairness. All I care about is power and reality. So let's frame this in a more positive way then. Instead of saying manipulative, say influence. Look at how he throws his words around as well. That's exactly what you're saying. Again, that is his assumption. That anyone who has the capacity to wield power instantly wants to manipulate, which implies nefarious intent. In his worldview, there is no such thing as the noble man. Again, that says more about him. Now let's get real about the nature of the x-axis here, shall we? Between social media and politics, the minds of young women are warped and fried to pieces. They live in a fantasy land. They have no idea what they want, and their perspectives are highly unnatural. Anyone who's really clued in will tell you this. Doesn't take a genius to figure this out. Does take a genius, however, to spot it apparently, but never mind that. As Aiden said, men conquer, women look for conquerors. It is unnatural for women to lead, nor do they want to be leaders. That's some crap politics pumped into their heads, which should tell you something about their level of susceptibility. Take a page from Ayn Rand. They're looking for someone to submit to. How many insane liberals do you see all around going, "Oh, I want a conservative man"? They're just obsessed with their own autonomy because they think it's some kind of luxury. Any woman behind the scenes will tell you this. You don't keep a woman's attention by doing whatever she wants you to do. That's not a real man. That's an exploitable sucker, an enabler, and she will not respect you for it. That attitude is like a casino where you always win. You'll get bored. Women want to be dominated and led. In fact, here's a test for you. Tell that to a woman and see her response. If she brings up the current year, politically indoctrinated, don't bother with that one. A man's job is to become a good leader. A woman's job is to find a good leader. That's it. It's very simple. I said before in the past, women need to look at men like they're horses. His job is to carry you. Your job is to feed and care for him. But if you overload him, he's going to wallop you like a game of buckaroo. And every so often, you just need to let him run around the field like an idiot. As far as Destiny's stupid notion of youth goes, heaven's sake, women are valued for their youth and innocence. Jeez, it's not like there might be a biological component to that with regards to mating and, continuing the bloody species. He even says, well, some can carry baggage and some can't. Okay, well if some can't carry the baggage, then why would I risk bothering with one that might have said baggage when I could potentially get a younger one that doesn't? That doesn't even make any bloody sense. Men don't want a woman with a past. They want one that will build a future with them. I don't know why this perspective is so contentious all of a sudden. Men and women in the grand scheme of things to me are not very complicated. What makes them seem complicated far more than it needs to be is that everything in our society is unnatural and borderline insane and very stupid. And unfortunately, human relations are not immune to that. Ask yourself a simple question here. How many of the stupid positions we hold in society today stem from political interference? If some version of the phrase, "oh dear God," hasn't just shot through your mind, I have more tinkering to do with your noggin. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.